In the blistering heat of the Arizona Territory, where the sun scorched the earth like an unrelenting forge, a lone rancher named Elias Hawthorne stood at the edge of a dusty trading post, his calloused hands clutching a crumpled $6 bill, the last remnants of his shattered life. His young daughter, Lily, lay frail and feverish back at the ranch, her tiny body wasting away without the care only a mother could provide, and in that moment of raw desperation, Elias made a choice that would haunt and heal him in equal measure. He bartered for 3 Apache women, captured souls being sold off like livestock by opportunistic traders, turning them into his wives not out of lust or dominion, but out of a father's aching plea for salvation. The air was thick with the scent of sweat and sagebrush as he led them away, their eyes burning with silent fury and unspoken sorrow, bound by chains that Elias vowed to break, even as his own heart fractured under the weight of what he had done. If you believe in the power of kindness and second chances, even in the darkest corners of history, hit that like button, drop a comment below sharing your thoughts, share this story with someone who needs a reminder of humanity's resilience, and don't forget to subscribe to Moments of Love for more tales that touch the soul. Elias had come to the territory a decade earlier, a widower fleeing the ghosts of a civil war that had claimed his wife in childbirth and left him with a newborn daughter who mirrored her mother's delicate features. The ranch was a sprawling expanse of arid land, dotted with stubborn cattle and thorny mesquite, a place where survival demanded grit and solitude. But Lily's illness had changed everything, a persistent cough that rattled her small frame, eyes hollowed by nights of feverish delirium, and Elias, with his rough hands more suited to branding irons than tender nursing, found himself drowning in helplessness. The local doctor, a grizzled man with a bottle always at his hip, had shaken his head gravely, muttering about the need for constant care, for a woman's touch to brew herbal remedies and offer the soothing presence that medicine alone couldn't provide. Neighbors were scarce, and those who existed were hardened souls with their own burdens, unwilling or unable to lend aid. In the quiet hours before dawn, as Elias rocked Lily in his arms, her whimpers piercing the silence like arrows, he wrestled with the void left by his late wife, Sarah, whose memory lingered in every corner of the cabin, the faded quilt she had sewn, the wildflowers she had pressed into a forgotten book. Desperation clawed at him, whispering that a man alone could not raise a child in this unforgiving wilderness, and it was in that torment that he heard whispers of the trading post, where Apache captives from recent skirmishes were being auctioned off cheaply, their fates sealed by the encroaching tide of settlers and soldiers. The day he rode into the post, the sun hung low like a bloodied eye, casting long shadows over the makeshift pens where the women were held. They were 3. Nita, the eldest with scars etching stories of battles lost across her arms, Kaya, fierce and unyielding, her gaze sharp as a hawk's, and Sani, the youngest, barely out of girlhood, her spirit dimmed but not extinguished by the horrors she had endured. The traders, rough men with tobacco-stained teeth and rifles slung over their shoulders, hawked them like mere commodities, boasting of their strength for labor and their silence in submission. Elias's stomach churned at the sight, the moral rot of it all clashing with his own code of honor forged in the fires of war, yet Lily's face haunted him, her pleas for "Mama" echoing in his mind. With trembling hands, he offered the $6, scraped from selling his prized saddle, and the deal was struck, the women handed over with chains clanking like accusations. As they trudged back to the ranch under a sky streaked with crimson, Elias felt the weight of their resentment like a storm brewing, their footsteps heavy with the betrayal of freedom stolen, and he wondered if this act of desperation would redeem him or damn him forever. The first weeks were a crucible of tension and trial, the ranch transforming into a battlefield of unspoken wars. Elias unchained them immediately upon arrival, his voice low and steady as he explained in broken gestures and halting words that they were free to leave, but the vast desert offered no mercy to wanderers without supplies. Nita, with her weathered wisdom, eyed him warily, her hands instinctively reaching for tools to defend herself, while Kaya spat defiance in her native tongue, her body coiled like a spring ready to unleash. Sani, withdrawn and silent, huddled in the shadows, her eyes darting like a cornered animal. Lily, sensing the shift in the air, cried more fiercely, her tiny form rejecting the unfamiliar presences that invaded her world. Elias struggled to bridge the chasm, assigning them simple tasks, tending the garden, mending fences, not as slaves but as equals, though the word, wives, hung awkwardly in the air, a legal facade he had invoked to protect them from reclamation by authorities who viewed Apaches as threats rather than humans. Nights brought the deepest challenges, storms rattled the cabin, lightning illuminating the faces of women who slept fitfully on pallets, their dreams likely filled with the raids that had torn them from their people. Elias lay awake, guilt gnawing at him like a coyote on bone, questioning if his need for Lily's survival justified upending these lives, and as the days blurred into a rhythm of shared labor, small cracks appeared in the walls of distrust, Nita brewing a tea from desert herbs that eased Lily's cough, Kaya repairing a broken corral with surprising skill, Sani humming a faint melody that lulled the child to sleep. Yet the struggles deepened, layering the narrative with raw, unfiltered emotion as cultural clashes erupted like sudden gales. Elias, raised in the rigid structures of Eastern society before the war uprooted him, grappled with the Apache ways that seeped into daily life, Nita's rituals under the moon, invoking spirits for protection, which he first dismissed as superstition but slowly came to respect as he witnessed Lily's fevers subside. Kaya's independence clashed with his protective instincts. She ventured into the hills alone, returning with wild game that sustained them, but her absences stirred fear in Elias, reminders of the dangers lurking from both nature and men, roving bandits, hostile troops, and the ever-present threat of reclamation. Sani's youth brought heartache. She mourned her lost family in quiet tears, and Elias, seeing echoes of his own grief, attempted clumsy comforts, sharing stories of Sarah in the firelight, his voice cracking as he described her laughter. The ranch itself conspired against harmony. A drought parched the land, cattle grew lean, and a raid by opportunistic thieves stole precious supplies, forcing them all into a desperate defense where Kaya's archery skills saved Elias from a fatal blow. In these moments of peril, bonds flickered to life, fragile as dawn's first light, Nita tending Elias's wounds with salves from her knowledge, Sani holding Lily close during the chaos, whispering Apache lullabies that transcended language. But doubt persisted. Elias questioned his role as husband, a title born of necessity rather than affection, and the women wrestled with their captivity, even as glimpses of choice emerged, the ranch becoming a reluctant sanctuary amid a world that offered none. As seasons turned, the narrative wove deeper emotional threads, suspense building like thunderheads on the horizon. Lily's health improved incrementally, her cheeks gaining color from the nourishing stews Nita prepared, infused with roots and berries foraged from hidden canyons. Yet new challenges arose. Whispers from town reached the ranch, tales of Apache uprisings stirring fear among settlers, and Elias found himself defending his wives against suspicious stares during rare supply runs, his fists clenched against slurs that branded them as savages. Internally, affections stirred unbidden, Kaya's fierce spirit kindling a respect in Elias that bordered on admiration, her teachings on tracking and survival drawing him into the land's secrets, while Sani's gentle nurturing of Lily awakened paternal instincts he thought buried with Sarah. Nita, the anchor, shared wisdom around the hearth, her stories of Apache resilience mirroring Elias's own losses, forging a quiet understanding that eased the loneliness etched into his soul. Suspense peaked during a brutal winter storm that isolated the ranch, snow blanketing the desert in an unnatural hush, forcing them into close quarters where vulnerabilities surfaced. Kaya confessing her fear of losing her identity, Sani revealing scars from her capture, and Elias breaking down over Sarah's grave, the women surrounding him in silent solidarity. Change came gradually, like rain reviving parched soil, shared meals evolving into moments of laughter, rituals blending as Nita taught Lily Apache dances under the stars, and Elias, in turn, reading from Sarah's old Bible, words of forgiveness resonating across divides. The turning point unfolded in a cinematic sweep of drama and redemption, as a band of soldiers descended on the ranch, tipped off by traitors seeking to reclaim their property. The air crackled with tension, rifles glinting in the midday sun, as Elias stood firm at the gate, his body shielding the women who had armed themselves with whatever they could find, Kaya with a bow, Nita with a knife, Sani clutching Lily protectively. Words flew like bullets, accusations of harboring enemies, but Elias's voice rose steady, declaring them his family, his wives by choice now, not purchase, the $6 of forgotten sin in the face of bonds forged in fire. The confrontation built to a fever pitch, a stray shot grazing Elias's arm, blood staining the dust, before Kaya's arrow disarmed the lead soldier, her precision a testament to her unbroken spirit. In the aftermath, as the troops retreated under threat of scandal, the ranch exhaled, and true transformation bloomed, Nita tending Elias with a tenderness that spoke of emerging love, Kaya admitting her growing attachment to this unlikely home, and Sani, beaming as Lily called her, Auntie, the child's recovery a miracle woven from collective care. Elias, gazing at the horizon, felt the weight lift, his desperate act evolving into a tapestry of healing, where three women once bought became pillars of strength, mothers to Lily in their unique ways, and companions to him in a life reborn from ashes. Years passed in the story's poignant resolution, the ranch flourishing under united hands, cattle herds swelling, gardens blooming with a fusion of Apache and settler crops. Lily grew strong and spirited, her laughter echoing across the valleys, embodying the second chances that had saved them all. Elias, no longer the broken widower, found peace in the multifaceted love that enveloped him, Nita's wise companionship, Kaya's passionate fire, Sani's youthful joy, marriages not of convention but of souls intertwined. The territory changed around them, wars fading into uneasy peace, but their haven endured, a testament to humanity's capacity for redemption amid cruelty. As the sun set on their story, casting golden hues over the land they had claimed together, Elias reflected on that fateful $6 decision, not as a purchase of lives, but as the unwitting spark of profound connection, proving that even in the harshest frontiers, kindness could rewrite destinies. If this story has touched your heart, stirring emotions of hope and humanity, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement means the world and keeps these tales alive on Moments of Love. Before we end, I'd love for you to comment below with the line, "Kindness redeems us all," if you felt the power of second chances in this narrative.